Good afternoon and welcome to the Women Can podcast. My name is Morgan and I will be your host today. I am joined with two wonderful women from ANEW, ANEW, Michelle Miller, the Director of Marketing and Outreach, and Andrea Ornelas, which is you are a erosion control foreman.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
You're so welcome. Okay, so I'd like to start off right away and ask you, Michelle, tell us about ANEW.
Sure. So ANEW stands for Apprenticeship and Non-Traditional Employment for Women. And we got started in 1980, and our original mission was to bring more women into the construction trades, which we still uphold very much so today, though we do serve co-ed clients as well. Everyone is welcome. What sparked its creation was, again, the lack of diversity on a construction job site, not a lot of women coming into the trade. So we've carried that through all the way to present day, and we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year.
That's crazy. It was 1984?
1980.
1980.
Yeah.
1980. That doesn't seem that long ago.
No.
But 40 years. Oh my gosh. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so 40th anniversary. And so so tell us about some of your programs.
Sure. So primarily we offer training programs. We call them pre-apprenticeship training programs. And that's the stage before someone gets into an apprenticeship, which is a paid job, an entry-level paid job in construction. And in our pre-apprenticeship classes, it's 11 weeks long. It's part-time, so it's 3 days a week. And in that class, we prepare our students to learn about all the different trades in construction and also brush up on some math skills because that's very important in the construction
sure.
trades. And also some professional development help. So resume building, mock interviews. We do actually bring in contractors and apprenticeship coordinators so that students are very well prepared to go on that interview and get that job by the end of the 11-week program.
Wow. So part-time, do some of your students, do a lot of them need to work full-time? How does that balance itself out?
Many people, they'll learn about us, they'll save up some money so that they can sustain themselves over that 11-week period. Others will work a part-time job because our class is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're able to work those 4 off days.
Okay. Okay, so and you said it's 11 weeks.
Yes.
Part-time, 3 days a week. Okay,
Yes, and
cool.
we have a training center up in North Seattle in Magnuson Park, Sandpoint area, and then we have our other training facility down in Kent around the corner from the Showair Center.
Is ANEW specific to Washington State? Are there other locations throughout the country?
No, ANEW is only in Washington State.
Oh yeah, I
And-
guess it would be.
Sure, and we
Yeah.
serve clients not only in construction apprenticeships, but we also have another grant that serves former foster youth and unaccompanied homeless to place them in apprenticeships of all kinds. So not just construction, but healthcare, IT, manufacturing. So we have a lot of different resources, not just focused on construction, though that's our bread and butter.
Cool. Okay. So I'm not sure if I track this, but so you have a pre-apprenticeship program that prepares your students for the apprenticeship program.
Yes.
And so how do you do that handoff?
Well, what we do is we'll have, again, the students learn about 8 to 9 different of the main construction trades in the program because many of them come in not knowing much about construction at all, let alone what job it is they want to do on a construction site.
Yeah.
So when we get about midway through the program, they've learned about many of the trades. They'll start putting their applications into the apprenticeships that they want to join. And that's where we walk them through the application process because it can be quite confusing for someone who's just starting out in that line of work. But the goal of our graduation by the end of the 11 weeks is to get them placed into a paid apprenticeship. And we say the range is typically between $26 and $28 an hour to start, though sometimes the apprenticeships start out at a higher wage.
That's amazing. That's really cool. So it's kind of a small sacrifice on the front end for a big payoff
Yes.
on the other end.
And the best part is, which I didn't mention, is the program is free. You don't need to pay anything to be in the program.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That is incredible. So, okay. My immediate next question is, how are you funded?
So we're funded by several different municipalities. WashDOT is a huge supporter of us, City of Seattle, Port of Seattle, and I'm sure I'm leaving some out. We have over, I would say, 20 different funding sources. So we have a lot of
Well,
help.
it's to their advantage for them to be funding you, right?
Yes.
Because you're providing them the workers that they're going to need.
Yes. And also, we get some funding from private donors. So, Walsh Construction is a huge proponent, Sellen Construction, GLY, and there's several others in the area, Granite Construction. They support by donating a lot of protective equipment, so hard hats, safety vests, gloves to our program. So, we have a lot of help and support because as they're looking for new apprentices coming into the pipeline to be able to build on their projects, it's a great partnership.
You touched on safety. Is there a strong emphasis on safety at ANU?
Yes, definitely. So that's one of the main things that we teach from day one. We say safety is number one, being safe both on the job site and the shop. And we also teach the 3 P's and W, which Andrea is very familiar with. That's positive attitude, punctuality, perseverance, and work ethic. So those are the 4 main values that our instructors instill in the students.
That's a good. Those are good lessons for life.
Yes.
Especially punctuality.
Yes.
Definitely.
Really appreciate that. Okay. That's really awesome that it's completely free. I didn't even know that. I didn't see that on the website, so that's really something important to note. So I am curious. Can you tell me about the different trades that you're preparing your students for?
Sure. So our closest trades we work with are the laborers, cement masons, iron workers, carpenters, sheet metal, plumbers and pipe fitters, electricians, and operating engineers. But there's a lot more trades than what I've just named that we have relationships with.
Okay, and so you have connections with. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. So they go through this program, and then you pass them along, and they have the skills to enter into the apprenticeship.
Yes.
That's a lot of trades. That's a lot of
Yes,
different
we work
trades.
with a lot of different trades, and the sky's the limit. There's a lot of different avenues, and like Andrea will probably speak about, you don't need to, work in the field as an apprentice. Apprenticeships last anywhere from 2 to 5 years, depending on the trade, but then the goal is to have you move up to be a foreman, superintendent, even a project manager someday. So there's a lot of opportunities beyond this first step. We want it to be a career, not just a job for our clients.
Yeah. And I did have a quick question because I was thinking about this on the way in. Can you list out kind of like the levels of how it goes? So it's like pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, journeyman, and then what comes after journeyman?
You can be a foreman,
Foreman.
superintendent, and then project manager.
Cool.
And then project executive goes right above that, and then probably to an ownership.
President
Yes.
of the United States of America. Okay, cool. Well, I think this is a good segue for you, Andrea.
Okay.
Yes. So tell us about what you do.
I'm an erosion and sediment control foreman. My team and I make sure no dirt, slurry, debris go into the catch basins on our site, disturbing pH levels in the water. It sounds like a lot.
What is slurry?
It's from concrete pores, so like the water that they rinse out their trucks with.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So first off, that's amazing that you're a foreman. And I just want to make a note. You are a foreman and your team is predominantly male.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's it like managing men?
Sometimes it can be, I don't want to say overwhelming, but you have some men that do not want to listen to a woman, take advice, or question everything you say. And then you have like your really good workers or teammates that just are all for you, all for Walsh, all for the team. And those are the days and times that I enjoy. With my team now, I don't have that. Any fighting, we all get along, everyone respects each other, and that's like the main thing you can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited to go to work. Like, I don't wake up and like, I don't want to go to work today. I haven't had that, and I'm so happy. Like, you have no idea.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's backtrack. How did you hear about ANU?
I heard about ANU through a friend. She was doing ANU, and I was like, "How? I don't even know. How did you even get into that? I've never even heard of ANU until she said something." And so I was like, "Well, I'll give it a try." And I went up there and I did the physical test. They do like a pre-physical test, and I did that, and I got a call back like, "Yeah, you can join." And I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to change my life. You know, that's exactly how I felt because I wanted to get into the construction industry.
Why?
One day, I was taking my husband's lunch to work. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I took him his lunch, and I saw him working, and he was on top of the roof. And I was like, man, that looks so cool. Like, I wish I could do that. That would be like the coolest job ever. And I was like, I want to get into construction, but I do not know how to get into it. And he's like, well, I don't want you to be, he was a non-union. He's like, I don't want you to do non-union. They're not as safe as in the unions.
Yeah.
And so we had we both heard about it, the unions, but we didn't know how to get into them. And so through ANU is actually how I showed him how to get into the
That's
union too.
cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were accepted into this program. You had the physical test. You passed it. So tell us about the 11-week training pre-apprenticeship.
My class was all women, and we got to go see the sheet metal, iron workers, laborers, and finishers. We went to so many different trades and electricians, and I got to see each one. We had got to do hands-on things and learn about each
Sounds
one.
like a school field trip.
It-
Like the
Yes.
it
ideal
was
school
some
field
of them,
trip.
yeah, it was the coolest.
Cool.
Every time we went, we all had a good time learning. We're learning, but it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Like you're hands-on. And so when we went to the laborers, I felt at home with the laborers.
Wow.
At first, we went to the plumbing, and I was like, oh, I might do plumbing. That one's And then I was kind of like forcing myself to do plumbing because I didn't know about the other
You should
trade
never
yet.
you either
Yeah.
if you're gonna do plumbing, you better make sure you love it.
Exactly. I was like, that's 5 years. That's 5 years of apprenticeship. Let me think about that.
I was thinking more about like the toilet situation, but yeah, sure, 5 years.
Yeah. So I went to the laborers and I loved it. Like as soon as I got on there, we started doing some hands-on things and I was like, I can do this. This is my type of thing. Like I was like, you get paid to exercise? Like that's how I thought about it.
Wait, what do you mean you get paid to exercise?
Well, because as laborers, we do like lifting things, moving things, transporting things, like sandbags,
so it's
and
basically just deadlifts and squats.
yeah, like sometimes I'd be like, I came home, I got
Join the laborers now.
got some good exercise. I don't even have to work out. That's on some of the days, but yeah, I loved it as soon as I went there. So I'm
Okay.
a laborer.
Awesome. Okay, so you tried it all out.
Mm-hmm.
So how far into the training process, like what's the cutoff date? So you join the program, and then how soon do you have to pick a specific, or is it that you just test them all and then you pick one
Yeah.
after?
During
During.
the class.
During. Okay.
yeah.
So how far into the training did you know that you wanted to be a laborer?
I want to say the day that we went to the laborers
That
training.
fast.
Yeah, that day I knew. I told my friend, I said, I'm going to be a laborer that day. Yeah.
This is the one.
Yeah, that was the one.
Mom, I found the one. I'm a laborer.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so then what did your train look like from that point forward?
So I had 3 years of training. Well, 6,000 hours. And so the time span is however many hours you work. And so I did my 6,000 hours. And in that time, you go to class. I want to say every 1,000 hours, you get 2 weeks of training. So I would
Okay.
go for like grate checking one time for 2 weeks. I do like rigging. That's another one we did. Concrete, how to like finish concrete, something like that. So when I left the training after the 3 years, I had an abundance amount of certifications.
Really?
I can't even count probably on my hand how many certifications I got through that apprenticeship. So if someone say wants to join my union and they haven't did the apprenticeship, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but almost 9 times out of 10, I have probably more training than they have.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's those are like multiple feathers in your cap.
Yes.
So did you do your training? So you did your apprentice. Okay, so you did the pre. I'm having a hard time keeping my brain around this, but you did the pre-apprenticeship with and then you did your apprenticeship. And who do you do the apprenticeship with?
The laborers, local
The
242.
okay, right, okay.
Yes.
And so then you work for the laborers local.
Yes.
And then they send you out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in your apprenticeship, how many women were in your class? Is that what it would be?
So every time I would go to class,
Mm-hmm.
there would probably be 1 or 2 women
With how many men?
with like 25 men.
So you were
least.
outnumbered.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like training with all these men? Was it mostly welcoming? Was it kind of cold-shouldered? What was your experience there?
So about 85% or so are like, yeah, come on, let's show her how to do this. You know, if she's going to be working in the field next to you, you better show her how to do that, right? You know, some of them are really nice. Then you get some that are like, I've actually had this said to me. He's like, why aren't you at home with your family cooking meals? I've had that said to me before. And I just looked at him and I was like, I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to do anything. And I was like, I would prefer to help my husband, and we prefer to do things as a team. He cooks, I cook, we work together. And I just walked away. And all the guys were like, after that, it was just a whole different story. That no one, like, everyone was like, you should not disrespect her like that. Like, I was so happy to have those guys behind
Have
me.
your back.
They had my back.
Yeah.
And that was like my first, like, challenge that I triumphed
Yeah.
over. And it felt good to be a part of that team.
Well, I applaud you for not taking like the angry route. Like you diffuse the situation by just being like, "This is what it is." That's wonderful.
Yeah, I had to learn not to get angry, because I figure once there are more women in the trade, people will start to realize that women can do just as well as men. And from when I'm working with men, they're like, "Man, she works harder than most men," you know.
Yeah.
So they're starting to realize that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now and it's local 440.
242. It was
242.
440.
Okay, 242. So in your local, and I don't know if do you call it chapters?
Just our union.
In your union,
Yeah.
in the local 242 union. How many women are in the union?
I'm actually not quite sure on that number. We have a women's meeting or union event. There's, I don't want to say 10% or so women, but when we're together, we're a force. And it's nice to have all of us together sharing advice, you know, of things we've been through and how our experiences are going.
Yeah, that's really great. What would you say, and Michelle, you can speak to this as well, what do you think some of the barriers are for women to enter into the trades?
Oh,
Either one.
okay.
Either
Yeah,
one.
go ahead
What do
and
you
then I'll
think?
chime in.
I think one of the barriers is us ourselves. We're nervous and we're afraid to take that leap and try to do something that most people would assume women shouldn't do.
That's a good answer. What do you think, Michelle?
Then the most common that we see, childcare. So if you have young children at home, where are they going to go when you're attending the class? A lot of people can't afford childcare, so that's often a barrier. Also, transportation. So having a gas card, bus pass, things like that. And then also just, fear of being in a male-dominated industry. And we're breaking that down, and it's getting a lot better than it was. But like Andrea said, that's definitely a barrier. On the financial barrier side, something I wanted to mention too is ANU has another department called AOP, Apprenticeship Opportunities Project, and we are able, based on everyone's income qualifications, to help out with financial assistance to potentially pay for a gas card or a bus pass or
That's
help
nice.
with work boots. And that extends even after you graduate from our pre-apprenticeship and you become an apprentice. That is a financial support service that's available statewide.
Wow. That's really cool. Is that widely? I mean, do you think women know? I mean, they must not know this is available.
Yes,
widely
we're
known.
trying to get the word out there, which this is a great
Yeah.
way to do that.
Well, I found the same thing in my research that women are just intimidated to join the trades. I found the same thing. There's fear of like harassment retaliation. So I think if we can make these educational platforms like super visible and share, more women will join. Because if you think about it, like we were talking earlier, it was an older gentleman that said those things to you, right? So there's like, there's a generation that's kind of leaving because they're aging out. We've got a new generation coming in. I think we have this next generation has a very open mind. So this is like it's prime time for women. Like now is the time. And like you said, women are just as capable of as men to do these jobs. So why not? And what did you say, starting out an apprenticeship, how much is it?
About $20 to $28 an hour on average.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if I had, man, all the times I say to myself, if I had known
Yes.
that the trades were an option for me, I don't think I'd be a plumber because, again, the whole toilet thing, I'm not into it. But I find sheet metal would be interesting. I work for roofing, and I think roofing is interesting. I eventually want to become a project manager, not on the roof. But yeah, I think the trades are super cool.
And on the note of diversity and inclusion, we've actually just partnered with the city of Seattle and also going to be doing some work with some other contractors on what's called the Rise Up program. And it's specifically working with contractors on job sites, on pilot. We're piloting it right now, but to help with worker and manager training on diversity and inclusion. So if harassment occurs, what are the policies and procedures to report that, to prevent any retaliation? So that's another big direction that ANU is taking right now to help.
That's interesting. So who approached who? Did the city of Seattle approach you with this?
I am not quite sure. It's been in the works for about a year and a half now, but it's been something that we've been working in conjunction with the city on.
Wow.
So there'll be more. We have a lot of job site banners that are going to be hanging around the city of Seattle that all will see.
Yeah. So Michelle, what is your background? I'm curious. Like, how did you join ANU?
I joined ANU last August, or 2 years ago. I mean, I worked for Hilti, which is a manufacturer of power tools, heavy duty anchors, and my job was going out to these different job sites and helping people with electrical solutions. So I worked with electrical contractors. And one day my coworker had asked me if I wanted to join him to train a pre-apprenticeship class on some of our heavy duty powder actuated tools.
Oh,
so I went with him that day, and it was to the PACE program, which is our program that's run at the North Seattle Training Center. And something inside me shifted that day. I had sales was fun, but it's not my passion per se. And something about working with the students, and they were so excited to see Hilti come in and help them with, learning how to use these tools that they had never played around with before, learning the safety of the tools. And I went home that day, and something inside me prompted me to learn more about this program. And I actually joined the ANU's board of directors for several months. And then it came to be that our executive director, Karen Dove, was looking for someone to focus specifically on marketing. That is my passion. And I immediately went up to her and said, I would love to join your team. So that's how that came about.
It was a match made in heaven. That's so cool that
Yeah.
you found, and you love this.
Yes.
That's amazing. You both found what you love through ANU.
Yes.
Yes.
That's really, really cool. Not everyone can say that. And I think telling women that the trades is an option is kind of where it starts. Because what if there's a lady out there who really wants to be a plumber and she just doesn't know it yet?
Yeah.
If you really want to be a plumber,
Call
you
us.
don't, call ANU. Okay, well, so I'm going to ask each of you this individually. And actually, I think we'll start with you, Michelle, and then we'll ask you, Andrea. Andrea, what would you tell a woman who is thinking about the trades? What words of encouragement would you give her?
I would say that there's plenty of support out there. And as Andrea said, that when she's with her fellow laborers who are women, that they're a force. And I know most of the main trades, carpenters is another one, they have these support groups within either the union or the contractor that encourage women to get together to talk about some of these challenges. And as a new, we also advocate highly for being involved, whether it's with your union or women's group. So there's plenty of support out there. If you're having a rough day, let's face it, every job and anyone has a rough day, that it's a different kind of mentorship, and I would say just a different feeling within construction, that women are very supported, especially in this current day and age. It's changed a lot over the last even 5 to 10 years.
Mentorship is a good point. Can you actually expand a little bit on the mentorship? Like, are you getting that from, is it men to women, women to men, just women to women? I mean, is it just kind of all encompassing?
I would say within our pre-apprenticeship program, we do a night called speed mentoring, where we have previous and new graduates, men and women, come back who have been through the program, and they offer advice to the pre-apprenticeship students going through the program. And it's very helpful because some of them are nervous, some of them have fears about how they'll be accepted on the job site. And this allows them to start creating those connections and those mentors that will help them through the rest of their career.
Yeah.
Andrea can probably speak to this better, but I know a lot of my friends who have gone through the construction industry, sometimes they stay with their team who they work with, either in that union or with that contractor, for the rest of their career. So people are very well connected and intertwined and
It's
supported.
a brother and sisterhood.
Yes.
that you're
Yes, it
developing.
is.
So talk to me about what would you tell ladies who are interested and not quite sure?
I would say definitely join a pre-apprenticeship program. When I came out of a new, I had a confidence boost. I already was sure I wanted to go into construction, but I was like very positive and very knowledgeable of things in the construction industry when I went to my first day at work. Also, with the extra certifications that you have through a new, I was the only one when I went to my first job with a forklift card. And so when we got the forklift cards out of new, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. I'm like, oh, I won't be using that. And I was like, dang it, I'm the only one on the job. So,
Can you get that at the DMV?
a forklift card?
Yeah.
Oh, I do not. I'm not sure if you
I'm gonna make a
can.
note. I'm
Okay.
gonna call them and ask if I can get a forklift card.
So definitely do a pre-apprenticeship. It'll definitely help you. And in the end, I'll never change the fact that I did that.
So how has your life changed? I mean, I don't know if you can even capture everything, but like, so from when you were before, when you dropped your husband's lunch off at the job site to now, how has your life changed?
Definitely positive and for the better. I have goals set that I know I can reach now. Before dreaming of anything financially, I just was like, I'll never be able to acquire that. And now now that we're more financially set, we have more children. We have 5 children now that we can take, and we are affordably take care of them and have a good lifestyle. And that's definitely.
Would you point your children towards the trades?
Oh yeah, definitely. My daughter, she already knows. I'm like, she comes with me sometimes to different things.
That's cool.
Yeah, we
That's
went
really
to the laborers. We did with the Girl Scouts. I was there. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So we were doing a little thing with the Girl Scouts, hands-on activities and stuff. And I brought my kids, my older 3 there, and we were making things with mud. Was gonna form and make something, a concrete structure. And my daughter was like, "Oh, I think I want to do this." And so I take her wherever I go. At first, she was dead set on carpentry, but I know it's going to change.
Oh, she was set on this trade,
Yeah.
but now she's
Yeah.
thinking the other. Okay.
I definitely.
No.
Yeah. I know it's going to change, but I also take them to like my union meetings. And so I'm already getting them ready and
You're
prepared.
normalizing, you're exposing them and making this normal.
Yes.
Then, oh, gosh, I just have so much hope for the next generation. That's cool. So you take your kids with you.
Yes.
Wow.
I definitely wish I would have had that experience or known about the trade. So as much as I can, I let them know. And there's so many different trades that for my 5 kids, I'm sure they'll pick one. My son, he's probably already like, I think I'm gonna be a plumber, like like his dad, because his dad gets all this homework and they kind of like teach him. He kind of teaches my son already, you know, and they do hands-on things. My son is he's 8 years old and can do so many things mechanically. It's beyond me, and that's just from showing them what's out there.
I'm still hung up on the Girl Scouts are doing the trades now, because when I was part of the Girl Scouts, we did like learning how to like wash your face properly and using a toner. That was a while ago. We never did the trades. I wish we had. I'll just join the Girl Scouts again. The Women Scouts now, I guess. Are you a part of any other affiliations now that you are a foreman?
I do go through. I was an ambassador for the city of Seattle, just going to different mentoring programs with them and mentoring people that think they want to go in the trades, showing them how they can get into the trades. Sometimes I would go to the mentoring for a new, but it has been a while since I became foreman. It's kind of hard to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What mentoring programs would you recommend to women?
Definitely, because a new has mentoring. So I really strongly suggest a new, not just because I went there, it's because I had a good experience with them.
Okay. Michelle, any other mentoring programs you would recommend?
An organization that I'm actually on their board of directors is NAWIC, and that's the National Association of Women in Construction. And we're about ready to celebrate. There's a National Women in Construction Week. It's March 1st through 7th. And it's comprised of mostly those women who are more in office roles, but we're expanding to include superintendents, foremen, and there's a lot of mentoring opportunities through that organization. They're a national organization, but they have a formal mentor system that you can sign up for.
That's really cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. Do you have anything else you'd like to throw out there before we kind of conclude?
I wanted to say, thank you again to all of our funders, Port of Seattle, King County, Sound Transit, WashDOT, and most recently Amazon has provided some funding for us as well.
Ooh, thank you,
and
Amazon.
without this funding, our programs wouldn't be possible. And without students like Andrea seeing a big benefit, we wouldn't exist for this, these 40 years that we've been around. So thank you to all of our listeners.
Yeah. And I think an important thing to remember is like you just have to take like the first step, just like you did. Take the first step, be a little bit brave and take the first step, because if you hadn't, you never would have found this career that you absolutely love.
Definitely.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on being so successful in your career. And Michelle, thank you for sharing your experience. And I just wanted to kind of wrap up. So for our viewers and for our listeners, to learn more about ANEW, you can find their site at anew.org. And I think I said this earlier, but your 2020 pre-apprenticeship schedule is online.
Yes.
On your site now.
And it's actually anewaop.org.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
Okay, sorry.
That's all good.
anewaop.org. I'm sure that. Sorry. And then can you reiterate your social media handles?
Yes, our Instagram handle is ANEW_AOP, and our Facebook handle, which we use most of the time, is /ANEWAOP.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening to the Women Can podcast. If you know a lady whose story needs to be told or should be told, please point them in the direction of our website. It is womencanproject.com. We also have a Instagram and Facebook page under the same name. Thank you so much for listening. And remember that if Andrea can do it, so can you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful afternoon.